My name is Brandon Hayes. I'm 34 years old, based in Minneapolis, and I've been driving Uber for 4 years. I don't do it for fun. It's rent, food, insurance. Night shift mostly. I keep to busy zones and avoid bars after 2 a.m. Drunks aren't worth a mess. That night was a Wednesday. Slow, cold. Around 11:30 p.m., I parked outside a 24-hour diner, sipping coffee when a ride popped up. Pick up at a residential block in Columbia Heights. A guy named Vince. 5-star rating. Drop off downtown. Easy enough. When I pulled up, the street was quiet. Just parked cars and bare trees shivering in the wind. The air had that stillness you only get in the middle of the night, where every sound feels louder than it should. A man in a black coat walked up and got into the back seat. Mid-30s, pale, quiet. Vince? I asked. He nodded. Yup. I started the trip. His voice had no warmth, like he'd rehearsed the answer 1,000 times. I glanced at him in the rear view. No eye contact, just the dull glow of streetlights catching his sharp cheekbones as he stared out the window. Something about his silence put me on edge. Not unusual for night riders, but this felt different. My gut kept whispering, keep your eyes open. As we drove through the city, I made small talk. You live around here? No answer. You been out with friends tonight? Still nothing. He was just staring out the window. I chalked it up to a bad day, or maybe he was just socially awkward. I've had weirder riders. We hit a red light near an old bridge, and I glanced in the mirror. He wasn't looking out the window anymore. He was staring at me, expressionless. I cleared my throat. Everything okay? His lips moved slightly. Just keep driving. My stomach tightened. It wasn't what he said, it was how calmly he said it. Almost rehearsed. The tone was deadpan, like he was giving a line from a play he didn't believe in. The GPS said we were 3 minutes from the drop-off. Downtown. But as we crossed into the industrial district, he said, turn right here. It wasn't on the route. I said, this isn't the address you gave. He leaned forward. I said turn. The air in the car thickened. I wasn't sure if I should refuse or go along. Against my better judgment, I made the turn. The street was empty. Warehouses, chain fences, loading docks. The kind of place you don't want to be after dark. Everything was either boarded up or forgotten. I drove slowly, trying to keep my breathing steady. He said, pull up there. I stopped beside a metal gate. He reached into his coat. I flinched, but he just pulled out his phone. He typed something, then showed it to me. It was a photo of me, sitting in my car, taken from behind. My heart started pounding in my chest. I didn't remember anyone being behind me tonight. I looked up. When was this taken? He said nothing. He spoke slowly. You need to delete your Uber account. What? I asked. He spoke again, more firm. If you don't, things might go badly for you. You work nights. You're alone. You don't check who's behind you. I stared at him. Is this some kind of threat? He smiled faintly. No, just a suggestion. Then he got out and walked into the shadows behind the gate. Like he belonged there. Like he'd done this before. I sat there for minutes, heart pounding, my hands trembling against the wheel. I didn't know whether to follow him or call someone, or just drive. Eventually, I left. I drove straight to the nearest police station. My nerves were fried. Told them everything. His name, the route, the photo. They checked the Uber account. It had no record of a ride named Vince that night. No piku. No trip. I even showed them my app. Nothing. My completed ride log jumped from 11:18 p.m. to 12:03 a.m. Like the trip never happened. The photo he showed me? It wasn't in my phone. Wasn't in any cloud folder. It had vanished, like it was only meant to be seen once. Uber support said no one had accessed my account, and there were no security breaches. But they did notice something odd. For a few minutes, my GPS had pinged me in a completely different location, somewhere deep in the warehouse district where rides are rarely, if ever, logged. 2 nights later, I got a new ride request. Same street, same profile name, Vince. I didn't accept, and I don't drive at night anymore. Now, every time I unlock my car, I check the back seat. I never park on quiet roads, and I never accept rides without thinking twice. Whatever that man's game was, I don't think it's over. My name is Marcus Taylor. I'm 29, and I drive Uber part-time in Oregon while finishing my coursework in computer engineering. I usually avoid the late-night rides, but that Sunday, I needed the extra cash. It had been a slow week, and I had bills stacking up, so when the app dinged just before midnight, I didn't hesitate. Around 11:45 p.m., I accepted a pickup near a small-town bar off Route 41. It was in a place called Hollow Creek, barely a blip on the map. I hadn't even heard of it until that night. The ride was booked under the name Jessica. I pulled up slowly, keeping my doors locked, scanning the area. No one was immediately visible. It was cold, dead quiet, and not another car in sight. A woman approached, mid-30s, long black coat, face partly hidden under a hoodie. She tapped the passenger window, and I rolled it down slightly. "You Marcus?" she asked. Her voice was soft but quick, like she didn't want to linger in the open air. "Yeah, Jessica." She nodded and got in the back seat without another word. No small talk, no eye contact. She sat stiffly, hands folded in her lap. Her drop-off was listed as Fairgrove, an old farming area almost 40 minutes out. That felt odd. People didn't usually call Ubers that late to go deeper into rural territory. But she had a solid rating, and I'd committed. I locked in the route and pulled away. I remember glancing at the rearview mirror as we left Hollow Creek. For the first 15 minutes, it was just silence. No music, no chatter. Just the hum of the tires and the occasional gust of wind against the windshield. It was the kind of silence that didn't feel peaceful. It felt loaded, like something was just waiting to happen. I checked the mirror a few times. Jessica was just staring forward, not even out the window, just into the headrest. At one point, I asked, "Everything okay back there?" She replied, "Fine," but her tone made my skin crawl. Not angry, not sad, just empty, like she was just going through motions. The GPS kept routing us through smaller, darker roads. Each one seemed narrower than the last. Eventually, we passed a sign, entering Fairgrove Township. That's when things started to feel off. Jessica leaned forward slightly and said, "Can we make a quick stop? I need to check on someone." "Where?" I asked, trying to sound casual. "Just off the next turn." I wasn't thrilled. Uber drivers don't usually go off-route unless we're asked ahead of time. But I nodded. Something about her made me hesitate to say no. It wasn't fear exactly. It was more like pressure, like saying no would have made things worse. We took the next right, which led onto a narrow dirt road, barely wide enough for the car. Trees pressed in from both sides. No streetlights, just the glow from my headlights bouncing off the trunks. The trees looked twisted somehow, as if they were leaning in. I chalked it up to the angle of the headlights and the nerves creeping in. She said, "It's just ahead, pull in at the clearing." We entered a wide clearing where the moonlight spilled across old tree stumps and frozen grass. A collapsed barn stood in the distance, almost hidden in the dark. I slowed the car and parked. Jessica didn't get out. She stared ahead. I looked around, heart pounding. "This the place?" She didn't answer. Then she whispered, "He should be here." "Who?" I asked, not sure if I wanted the answer. She looked at me, and for the first time, I saw her eyes, wide, glassy, almost vacant. "My brother. He's the one who told me to come here." Before I could respond, she opened the door and stepped out, her shoes crunching softly against the frost-covered ground. I called after her, "Ma'am, I'm not supposed to wait off trip." No answer. She walked slowly toward the barn, disappearing into the moonlit shadows. I waited 5 minutes, then 10. I turned on my high beams and honked once. Still nothing. I started getting out of the car when I heard something far off, what sounded like dry leaves crunching, but it came in irregular patterns. Not wind. footsteps, but not hers. Still, I couldn't just leave her. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped into the cold. The air was ice cold. My breath came out in heavy clouds. I scanned the clearing, but didn't see her. I approached the barn. Its doors were slightly ajar, the hinges creaking in the wind. Jessica, no answer. I reached the doorway and shined my phoned flashlight inside. Dust, beams, ratidai. Nothing that looked fresh, just layers of decay and abandonment. I turned back toward the car and froze. The back door was open. My phone buzzed. A new Uber ride request. From Jessica. Same pickup location. My mouth went dry. I canceled it. Then I noticed something in my front seat. A folded note. In it, scrawled in shaky penmanship, "Don't come back here. Ever." I jumped in the car, locked the doors, and peeled out of there, barely avoiding hitting a log near the trail. Jessica's profile disappeared the next morning. I reported everything, but Uber support claimed the trip never happened. No fare, no record, nothing. I still check my app history sometimes. Still nothing. And sometimes, late at night, I wonder what would have happened if I'd gone into that barn just a little farther. My name is Marcus Hill. I'm 29 years old, living in Cleveland, Ohio, and I've been driving Uber full-time for about 3 years. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills, and you get to meet all kinds of people, some good, some strange, and some, well, you'll see. That night, it was cold. One of those bitter February nights where the wind stings through your jacket, and every breath you take fogs the windshield. The streets were dead quiet. Almost no cars, just the hum of streetlights and the crunch of salt under tires. I was parked near a gas station off Prospect Avenue, sipping the last of my lukewarm coffee and scrolling through the app when a ping came in. Pickup, Prospect Avenue. Rider, Elijah T. Destination, not provided. No destination? That's usually a red flag. Riders normally put in their drop-off, especially this late. But I figured maybe he was just in a rush or new to the app. I pulled up to the pin, near a crumbling old brick church. The streetlight above was flickering in that annoying way, on, off, on, off. No one was on the sidewalk. Then a figure stepped out from behind the black iron gate of the churchyard. He moved like he already knew I was coming. Slim guy, gray hoodie, jeans, hands stuffed in his pockets. Didn't wave, just walked up and stood beside the car. "You Marcus?" His voice was calm, low. I nodded, asked Elijah. He said nothing, just got into the back seat behind the passenger side and shut the door. He didn't offer a greeting, didn't even glance at his phone, just stared out the window like we were already halfway to wherever he was going. "So, where to?" I asked. "Just drive. I'll tell you when to stop," he said, still not looking at me. Against my better judgment, I did. The drive started off normal, eastbound through neighborhoods I recognized, then past the edge of the industrial district. Streetlights thinned out until it was just us and the road. He gave me quiet directions. No GPS, just curt instructions. "Take this next left. Keep going. Right at the gravel fork." It felt like he was leading me somewhere very specific, but there was no indication of where or why. Every time I glanced back through the mirror, he was still barely blinking, barely breathing. I tried to make light conversation. "So, heading to a friend's place? Late night bonfire." No response. "You from around here?" Still nothing. Just that distant stare. The city disappeared behind us. Now we were in backwoods territory. No signs, no pavement, just dirt roads and thick woods lining both sides. Something about the air changed. I turned off the heater for a moment just to listen. You could hear the tires crunching gravel, a distant rustle of branches in the wind, and that's it. Even a radio, which was playing low static, seemed to fall silent. Then he spoke. "You ever been out this far?" It took me off guard. "Not really. Usually stay in the city." "Why?" "You have. You just don't remember." He said it like a fact, like he knew something I didn't. I felt a chill crawl up my back that had nothing to do with the weather. My fingers hovered near the lock button. The road narrowed until it barely resembled a road at all. Eventually, we broke through the trees into a clearing. There, under the cloud-dimmed moonlight, stood a house. 2 stories, peeling paint, boarded windows. No lights, no driveway, just weeds and old rusted furniture on what used to be a porch. "Here, this is it," he said. I stopped the car. He didn't move right away. Just looked at the house for a long minute before opening the door and stepping out. He didn't say thanks. Didn't say goodbye. Just stood there. "Wait here. I won't be long," he added, and then walked through the porch and vanished into the shadows of the open doorway. He said. Minutes passed. The house stood silent. I tapped the app to end the trip, and nothing happened. The app was frozen. Then it shut down entirely. The screen went black and kicked me back to the home screen. I tried restarting it. Nothing. Uber acted like I hadn't accepted a ride all night. I looked up. Still no sign of Elijah. After 20 minutes, I got out and did a loop around the car, shining my flashlight across the tree line. No sounds. No bugs. No movement. I didn't go near the porch. Back inside, I searched online for Elijah T. and found his obituary. Elijah Terrence Whitlock, 26, died under unclear circumstances. Went missing 2 years ago. Last seen wearing a gray hoodie. Body was found months later, near an abandoned house east of the city. The photo in the article? It was him. Same guy. Same face. I started to feel lightheaded. That's when I heard it. A knock on the window. I whipped around. Nothing. No one there. I didn't wait. Threw the car in reverse and peeled out of there. When I got home, I checked my trip log. There was no ride from that hour. No record of a passenger named Elijah. Nothing on my GPS trail showed me leaving the city. I thought maybe I was losing it. Stress? Lack of sleep? But then, the next night, my phone buzzed. Incoming Uber request. Pickup, Prospect Avenue. Destination, none. Rider, unknown. It was the same location. Same time, 1:18 a.m. I didn't accept. Instead, I deleted the app. Reinstalled it a week later under a different phone number. But every Friday, the same ping comes through. Same time, same spot. The ride never goes away. My name is Travis Ellison, and for 2 years I drove Uber through the late-night hours of Chicago to make ends meet. I always thought I'd seen everything the night could throw at me. Sloppy drunks, tearful breakups, even a guy trying to sneak a raccoon in a duffel bag. But this? Nothing ever touched this ride. It was a cold Tuesday in November, one of those quiet nights where the city feels half asleep. I'd been parked at a CVS near Devon, sipping coffee that had gone stale in its cup holder, hoping for one last ping before heading home. Then it came. Pickup, Devon and Pulaski, 2.4 miles away. Name, Claire W. 5-star rider. I didn't hesitate. When I arrived, the corner was nearly pitch black, streetlight above, flickering and dead. No houses, no shops open. Just one person standing still beneath the pole, head lowered, hoodie up, no bag or purse in sight. I rolled my window down halfway. Claire, she nodded slowly. No eye contact. No smile. Just quietly got in and closed the door with that soft, damp thud. I watched her in the mirror, waiting for her to say something. A hello, at least. But nothing. She just sat there, not looking at me, not her phone, just forward, as if waiting for the car to start moving. I double-checked the destination in my app, then shifted into drive. That's when she finally spoke. Quiet, controlled, almost like she was being careful with her words. Don't take the main roads. Please, stay on the side streets. No explanation. No urgency in her voice, just a strange calm that gave me chills. I hesitated but nodded. I told myself maybe she had anxiety about traffic. Maybe she had a bad experience with someone before. I wasn't about to argue, so I steered off the normal route. We cut through a cluster of narrow back streets, places most drivers avoid after dark. Abandoned storefronts, Rusting fences and cracked sidewalks passed by as I tried not to think too hard. Trying to make small talk, I said, "You staying close by? Rough night." No response. I glanced into the mirror again. She was still sitting rigidly, eyes fixed outside her window, her hands in her lap. I couldn't even tell if she was blinking. After a few more minutes of silence, she leaned forward just a little and said, "Turn left here." It wasn't the app route. It wasn't even lit. Just a road carved through an industrial area. Low brick buildings with no signs and trash swirling in the wind. But something in her voice made me do it. That's when I felt it. Something wasn't right. The street was dead silent. No lights. No passing cars. Just rows of chain link fencing and boarded windows. That's when I glanced back through the mirror again. She wasn't looking out the window anymore. She was staring through the gap between the seats, right at me. Pale face. Expressionless. Her eyes had the kind of focus that felt almost practiced. Then she asked, "Why didn't you cancel the ride?" I said, confused, "What do you mean?" "You requested it." But she interrupted me. "No, I didn't." I pulled the car over right there, and then the engine idled, and for a moment the only sound was the dull hum of the heater and our breaths. I turned around in my seat slowly. She met my gaze, her eyes sharper now, alert, afraid. "You didn't request this ride?" I repeated. She shook her head. "I haven't had the Uber app installed in over a year. That profile isn't mine." I pulled up the app and showed her the rider info. Same name, same photo, same profile pic that was currently staring me down in person. She stared at it in horror, then whispered, "That's my old photo, from my college ID. How the hell did someone?" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "He's using people's identities. He's done this before." That's when it clicked. This wasn't some ride request mix-up. Someone had used her name, her face, somehow made a ghost profile. "Who's he?" I asked, but she didn't answer. She just said, "I need to get out now," and reached for the door. She stepped into the cold air and walked away without a backward glance, into the shadows near a gas station about a block ahead. I sat there for a long time, staring down that road, feeling like I had brushed up against something I shouldn't have. Back at home, I couldn't shake it. I opened my Uber history, thinking maybe I'd missed something. A glitch, an error. But the trip was gone. Not listed. No timestamp. No payment. Like it never happened. I contacted Uber support the next morning and asked about the rider account, Claire W. They told me it was banned 14 months ago for identity fraud. Dozens of reports had come in from drivers, each one eerily similar. Riders who wouldn't speak. Wrong drop-off locations. Mismatched names and photos. Sudden disappearances. One support agent told me, quietly, there were a few drivers who just never drove again. One of them went missing altogether. I deleted my account that same day. But sometimes, late at night, I'll still get push notifications. From Uber. New trip request, Claire W. Same location. Same pickup time. 2:14 a.m. But when I open the app, there's nothing there. Like it's just waiting.